In The Boys Season 5, Episode 6, no one can expect this Homelander takes V1 literally in shocked. Even I can't seeing all seasons, Billy Butcher felt fear. But once Homelander takes V1, he said one word. Run! So this is how Dangerous Homelander now. But how they kill Homelander. This is the main event of the season. So maybe I thinking these two possibles only makes to Homelander kills. The supe-killing virus, a 70% solution. The first option is the pathogen. Dr. Cardosa and Sameer Shah's supe-killing virus was introduced as what seemed like the ultimate endgame weapon, an instant kill agent that tears through modern soups like they're made of paper. We saw it deployed in Episode 2, and the results were devastating. Soups who have spent years believing they were untouchable dropped like anyone else. For a brief moment, it felt like the boys finally had something that could end this. Then Soldier Boy survived it, and that changes everything about the virus's strategic value, but not in the way you'd initially think. His survival isn't a failure of the weapon, it's actually a blueprint. Soldier Boy is immune because his body was built on V1, the original 1970s compound V formula, not the modern refined version that all current soups run on. The virus was engineered to target the specific molecular structure of modern compound Vi. V1 has a different enough composition that the pathogen can't fully latch onto it and complete its kill cycle. Soldier Boy essentially proved that the virus has a blind spot, and that blind spot is V1. Now here's where Sister Sage becomes the most important character in the entire Endgame. If the boys can bring her into the fold, and the show has been hinting at exactly that kind of shifting alliance, she has the intellectual firepower to potentially reformulate the virus to target V1 specifically. The 70% probability you're thinking about is actually a reasonable estimate given that timeline. Reformulating a bioweapon against a structurally different compound under pressure, without full lab resources, while Homelander is actively hunting everyone involved? That's not a guaranteed success. There are too many variables. But 70% on paper could easily become a hard no in execution if even one thing goes wrong. And The Boys has never given its characters clean victories. The deeper problem is exactly what you identified. Even if they reformulate successfully, even if they get the virus airborne or delivered somehow, Homelander with V1 in his system is operating at a level where the window to actually deploy it might not exist. He's faster, more durable, and more instinctively destructive than he's ever been. The virus needs proximity or a delivery mechanism. Getting close enough to use it is a suicide mission under normal circumstances, and these are not normal circumstances anymore. The virus option is viable, but it requires everything to go right. And on this show, everything never goes right. Soldier Boy, the nuclear option. The second option is the one that feels like it was written into the show's DNA from the very beginning, and it's the one that makes the most narrative sense as a finale move. Soldier Boy's chest blast isn't just a superpower. It's been revealed to be something closer to a biological counteragent, a concentrated burst of radioactive energy that doesn't just damage soups, it strips compound Vi from their bloodstream entirely. We saw it happen to Kimiko. We saw it happen to Queen Maeve. In both cases, the blast effectively depowered them by purging the V from their systems at a cellular level. Episode 6 took this further by showing that the blast is powerful enough to drain V1 from the bloodstream completely. That's not a small detail. That's the show telling you directly that Soldier Boy is the key. If his blast can strip V1, the most potent and structurally resilient form of compound Vi in existence, then it can absolutely strip it from Homelander. The question has never been whether Soldier Boy can hurt Homelander. The question has always been whether Soldier Boy can be pointed in the right direction at the right moment without destroying everything else around him. And that's the tragic beauty of this setup. Soldier Boy is not a hero. He's not an ally. He's a weapon. And like every weapon the boys have ever tried to use, he's as dangerous to the people holding him as he is to the target. His blast radius doesn't discriminate. Normal humans in the vicinity don't survive it. We saw what he did to civilian structures during Herogasm. The collateral damage of deploying Soldier Boy against Homelander in any populated area would be catastrophic. So the boys don't just need to get Soldier Boy to fight Homelander. They need to engineer a scenario where the blast can land clean, where Butcher and the others aren't vaporized in the process, and where Soldier Boy doesn't decide midway through that he has his own agenda. That last part is the wild card. Soldier Boy has never been fully controllable. His relationship with Butcher is complicated by the Vought history, his own ego, and the fact that he genuinely does not care about collateral damage in the way the boys need him to. Getting him to commit fully to a Homelander kill, stay on target and not cause a secondary disaster is an alliance built on sand. But it's the only alliance that has the raw power to match what Homelander has now become. Why these two options and nothing else? Ryan is not the answer. The show has spent time developing Ryan's arc, and there's emotional weight to the idea of a son confronting his father. But Ryan doesn't have the power ceiling or the psychological hardness to finish Homelander. Homelander with V1 would destroy Ryan without hesitation if it came to it. Butcher is not the answer either. His arc this season feels more like a man preparing to sacrifice himself than a man building toward a victory. Butcher's endgame has always felt like a death, not a triumph. The virus and Soldier Boy are the only two mechanisms the show has introduced that can actually neutralize Compound 5 at the source, and both of them have massive, deliberate drawbacks built in. That's the show's fingerprint. The Boys never gives you a clean weapon. Every solution comes with a cost that might be worse than the problem. The virus might not work on V1 without Sage's help, and Sage's loyalty is never guaranteed. Soldier Boy might burn through Homelander and take half the cast with him. The finale is almost certainly going to force both options into play simultaneously, because one alone isn't enough. And the collision of those two plans with all their complications and human cost is where the real ending of The Boys lives. The writers have set up a finale where the victory, if it comes at all, is going to feel devastating. That's always been the show's promise. And right now, those two options are the only paths through it.